Well guys, it's another great day living in the wonderful United States of America, the greatest country on earth that somehow seeks to destroy the very land that it lives on. As you might have guessed, today I want to talk about the recent decision by the Trump administration to repeal some of the environmental protections offered by the Endangered Species Act. But first, let's talk about the Endangered Species Act. It was established in 1973 in direct response to the sheer number of plant and animal extinctions we were witnessing here in the US. And the ESA revolves around this idea of take, which was originally defined as anything that harassed, disturbed, or killed endangered species. This included things like hunting, trapping, or collecting. Then there was this big Supreme Court case, Babbitt versus the Sweet Home Chapter of Communities for a Greater Oregon. The Sweet Home Chapter represented timber companies, landowners, and workers, and they argued that harm only meant applying direct physical force to an animal that directly caused it harm. As one can imagine, including environmental degradation and habitat destruction might be a little bit inconvenient for people that are primarily focused with profiting off the land. However, the Supreme Court upheld that environmental destruction and degradation legally constituted as harm under the ESA, which is great because biologists at the time were citing habitat destruction as one of the main causes of extinction. Not to mention, this just makes logical sense to include, as how is a species supposed to survive if it has no habitat to survive in? I imagine if I told one of these guys to go play golf, yet there was no golf course, suddenly they would get the idea. Since then, the Endangered Species Act has been incredibly successful and has saved hundreds of species from extinction. Some of the most iconic species in America we only have now thanks to the Endangered Species Act. And now, the Trump administration seeks to disgrace and destroy that legacy by rescinding the environmental protections offered by the ESA. And just as the Supreme Court decided before, prohibiting hunting or collection of these animals means nothing if they have no habitat to survive on. However, people aren't letting this go without a fight. Multiple conservation groups have come forward and are actually suing the government to reverse these changes. Additionally, U.S. Representatives Brian Fitzpatrick and Mike Quigley have put forward a bill called the Safeguarding Endangered Species Act bill, which is a bipartisan bill, that's important to note, that would effectively nullify the changes made by the Trump administration. To support this bill, get acquainted with your local threatened and endangered species. That way, when you call and you email your state representatives, you can include species that are relevant to that area that really drive home the importance of this bill. We have to let them know that environmental harm is harm.